Okay, so today we're going to be trying out Giga. We haven't really tried Giga since the nerfs. I played against it a bit, and I think it's, like, not great. So, you know. I actually think the thing about Giga, and I think this has been true always for Giga, is that the unit itself is pretty good, and the unit itself used to be completely obnoxious. I think we can all agree that before this infantry damage nerf, the Giga cannon itself was a completely busted unit. However, there wasn't really a good enough deck around it. Like, there wasn't a really powerful way to build a deck around the Giga cannon. There were a few builds, like the Chuggy Giga and Flamer Giga and so on, but none of those decks were actually that great because they all relied on the Giga cannon being completely broken to be good decks. So you literally were relying on this unit being beyond busted for your deck to work. That is no longer the case, obviously, because it isn't completely busted. It's like medium busted. It's still a very strong unit. The problem is, when the Giga cannon isn't good, your deck is trash. There's very few decks in Rivals where, like, when one of your units is bad, your entire deck is complete shit. And this is one of them, I'd say. So if your Giga cannon is bad, your deck is terrible. And if your Giga cannon is good, your deck is good. I think that's always been true for Giga cannon. It just used to be that the Giga cannon was so strong that you could sometimes have situations where your Giga shouldn't even be that good and it was still completely insane. Now that's less true, and it's way harder for Giga to just be the entire game plan. And that makes it really hard to win, because Giga, like, it is your entire game plan. If your deck is a Giga deck, then you can only win if Giga cannon crushes, and if Giga cannon doesn't crush, then you won't win. So that, I think, is the problem with Giga inherently. It's like, if you have like a tank deck where tank isn't that great, you normally can figure something else out. But that kind of isn't true with the Giga cannon. If the Giga cannon isn't good, you generally don't have any other options apart from
That's the whole run
just
and only units you can make.
Buggy Banshee Seth. Okay. That sounds like it's gonna be real good. Buggy Banshee Seth. Yeah, that's gonna have some seriously bad matchups for sure. But it is unranked, so who knows. But we'll do that later. But now we have Giga Cannon to make. So, like, we're on Orbit. As I said, I don't know if I said this at the start of the video, but I've been saying it before the video started. Orbit is one of the worst Giga Cannon maps in all of Rivals. It might be the worst Giga Cannon map in all of Rivals. The other map for this event is Fighting Pit, which is one of the best Giga Cannon maps in Rivals. So our win-loss ratio is going to, well, how powerful our deck is going to be entirely dependent on the map. Like, our deck goes from sort of horrible to insanely good, depending on which map we get. So that's gonna change things quite a lot, obviously. Like, Giga Cannon is just not really playable on this map, and it's completely busted on the other map. So yeah, that's gonna make things a bit weird. That is gonna make things a bit weird. Like, our deck, like, look at our deck. We literally don't have decent outs to Pipple, except for Giga Cannon. So we definitely don't have outs to, like, tank, except for Giga Cannon. So if we play against, like, tanks on this map, we just can't really win if the opponent plays properly. So yeah. That is the nature of the Giga Cannon. If your Giga Cannon is good, your deck is good. If your Giga Cannon is bad, your deck is probably bad. This guy has not played the Pitbulls very well, obviously, and he doesn't have tank. But these are things that I would really struggle with from a player of high quality. You know, like someone who can beat me on an even footing, or even with a slight advantage. I would really struggle. But obviously, Rivals is primarily a skill-based game, so I can win games that I shouldn't simply by outplaying my opponents, which you guys have seen some number of times on this channel. Orca's actually not really a problem because we are a Phantom deck, although we are a little light on resources right now. If we can snipe this Harvester, then we can use it to buy a Phantom. Come on, bikes. It seems like one shot. No, sad. Alright, we have a Phantom anyway. I don't know why I'm going after this Harvester. I don't need any more. But we did get it anyway. Just in time. Feels good, man. Come on, Phantom, reload. Reload, Phantom. Quickly, thank you. Alright, and that could be... No, that is still not enough, because we don't have a decent out to this Pipple at the top. Oh, I sent the Phantom away too soon. Yeah, I sent the Phantom way too soon. I should have had that. Phantom was a little closer on the pads. I would have won. Would have won the game there, but I sent the Phantom away too early, and the bikes did not arrive in time. I guess we'll make a Giga because we kind of have to, but we just aren't going to beat this these pit bulls without it. But obviously, it's not great. I could try and push his base. That is a strategy people use when you're on a bad Giga map. You just kind of take over one side of the map and then you push the base with it. Once you have like a strong enough fortification, as it were. That's like a pretty reasonable strategy, honestly. Just take your units and go for the base. It doesn't look great in this spot though, does it? Missile's about to fire. Probably gonna have to not do that. Maybe this deck needs chuggy. Like, the deck was way better with chuggy because then you had a way to like use Giga Cannon to kill off vehicles and use chuggy to clean up missiles really easily. But obviously chuggy got a pretty huge nerf, so I don't know. I don't know if chuggy version is better. I think maybe I'll do 5 games with Buggy and Flamer and 5 games with chuggy and see which I prefer. And like, I think Razorback is a huge issue, right? Razorback, if you go for chuggy Giga with rifles, then Razorback is a unit you're going to lose to, probably. Anytime you don't have Sling, Razorback is a tough unit to fight, though. So that's pretty much true of all Nod decks. The more mobile decks, I think, do better, though, than the static decks against Razorback. Scarabs, you say? Can I push into these and kill them with losing one buggy, or am I going to lose both buggies? I lose both buggies, that's a yikes. Alright. Scarab seems like maybe a small issue. I didn't make any more Scarabs. I was going to say I don't have any cheap units, so if you just made a load of Scarabs, it is kind of annoying. I don't have anything even coming close to being a cheap unit. My cheapest unit is 20. This would be a good time for Giga, but I don't think I'm going to get there before the missile fires, so we're going to go laser instead. I really should have not made bikes at all upon seeing War Factory. I guess the problem is I traded 2 buggies for his Scarab is the issue. At that point I didn't have the money to do anything else. Oh, another Scarab. Back up from that. Alright. We'll probably just do the thing where you send like your damaged units into the Scarabs. That's like the best way to deal with Scarabs if you haven't got a cheap unit. Just send things that aren't particularly worthwhile anymore. Chuck them in there instead. I don't really care about his chuggy at all.
Your command. Burning. Attack buggy. Kill them all.
Laser and missile is just such a... That's just like so much of the game, isn't it? Lasers and missiles.
No problem.
Probably pretty reasonable to say those units are just overpowered. Like, they're in like every deck. You basically have to play them pretty much. I guess that's one of the few nice things. And Jade Missile is pretty hard to dodge now. That's one of the few nice things about jump jets being playable, is that you don't have to have missiles in your deck. Although, I think I'd prefer it if everyone just played missiles and jump jets weren't playable.
3, 2, 1.
This is definitely an awkward event for a Giga Cannon.
Building online.
Maybe I'll try and get... If my opponent opens War Factory, I think I'll try and get an early... oh shit. 2 jump jets, that's not good. I should not have stopped harvesting. Because now I don't have enough money for another buggy. Yeah, that was a fuck up. I think a lot of the time in situations like this, the best thing to do is just give up on the harvester. Like, obviously, if you can save it, but don't stop harvesting. It's really important you keep harvesting. Oh, we actually did save it. It is super important to continue harvesting, though, because otherwise, if you don't keep harvesting, then you just run out of resources, and then they get the harvester kill and they can just push you off the map entirely. Whereas if you keep harvesting, then you can at least fight back. And if they kill your harvester, then it doesn't matter, you just make another one, it's not a big deal. Alright, well, buggy OP. Was ever thus. You have to stop making jump jets because they're just not very efficient. I guess I'll make flames. I don't know. Should probably start charging the missile. Yeah. Alright, let's just see if we can base him actually. Oh wow. Okay.
Unit ready. Unit enhanced.
Giga cannon bases people pretty quickly. So I'm feeling okay about this. Alright, GG I guess. Close game. A close game of Command and Conquer Rivals.
Enemy base destroyed. 3, 2,
OP map for Giga Cannon.
Carefully now.
building online. Unit ready.
Laser first, straight to the half. Fair play, I respect it. It's a pretty big difference on whether your lasers are like fully on defense or have to like move a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot of lasers, man.
Unit offline.
I guess we just keep making buggies. I remember when people used to go like wheel Giga against lasers. Like you'd open barracks and they just go wheel Giga, and you're like, bro, really? It's like so absurd. Against a barracks, just gonna tech switch into a Giga cannon. It's insane. And then there were loads of people being like, ah, no, like Giga players like, nah, it's fine unit. What? Making this anti. It's like imagine going dog MLRS against barracks opening. Oh shit! It's the Giga mirror. Get hyped. The person who wins the Giga mirror is generally the one who makes the most Giga cannons, has been my experience. Although that was back when you could kill laser with Giga. Now I suspect the matchup is slightly different because you can, you know, make lasers and they aren't terrible. Yeah, I guess my Giga's gonna die here. Kind of the way that goes. Venom, you say? How exciting. Shame the game is over. Otherwise this Venom might have been real exciting.
You are victorious.
3,
2,
yeah, I appreciate you sending me those nudes, Ice.
For the crystals.
What are real friends for?
building online. Unit ready.
On the move.
Drone swarm opening. That's quite bad for me because it probably means he's gonna go Orca.
Unit ready.
Ready to roll.
I can probably, if he just goes straight into Orca, I can probably overwhelm it with light vehicles.
Your command buggy on the move.
Unit ready.
Attack. What's needed. Buggy.
Yeah, okay.
What's needed. Your command. Buggy and a gun. Your command. We're gonna brain him. Missiles will smash him.
Unit ready.
Advancing.
Like, there's only one Orca, right?
Engine.
So,
Missiles will- Your
just
command.
kill it.
Striker ready to roll. Attack buggy. Striker revving the engine.
Unit ready.
Ready to go off-roading. What's needed? Buggy and a gun. We're gonna Brotherhood is right. Kill for Kane.
Unit offline.
Problem is now an Orca could be a little scary. Maybe not though. Maybe it's too late already. I think there's still a drone swarm down here somewhere.
Missile launched. Unit offline.
We're getting close to the point where I'm going to need the Phantom. Once there's like once there's missiles to protect the Orca, it's pretty difficult to kill it with just vehicles. Alright, there goes the half. I don't even know, man. What do I make? Flamers, I suppose? Maybe a phantom. The thing is, if you just make buggies to fight the missile, then you can't really make drone swarmers. If you make flamers, so then you got to deal with drone swarms as well, which are pretty annoying for Nod. This game's gone pretty smoothly, it has to be said. Does he still have a drone swarm over here? Bro. Bro. Drone swarm in the corner of the map for the whole game. That feels bad.
Mission accomplished. New objective.
Alright, so we're gonna try Chuggy.
Online.
We're gonna try the Chuggy version, see if it's like still playable at all.
Unit ready.
Ideally, you want to be able to murder lasers. That's like the dream of playing Chuggy.
Unit ready.
Second flame is what you want the flamer person to do when you're rifle Chuggy. Because then they've committed quite... Like, he spent 100 money on infantry and I've spent 30. So this switch into Chuggy is like almost for free comparative to how much money he has. Then he's really unlikely to be able to tech switch quickly enough to fight the Chuggy properly. Yeah. Like, bikes just definitely don't cut it. A classic Chuggy experience, just like the old days. Oh shit, he's Chuggy as well? That's surprising. That is very surprising, because you don't really see Chuggy with Flamer that often. He's Jade as well. Alright, so we need to be careful. Yeah. Alright, GG. Chuggy does not lay cloud quickly enough anymore. Yeah, that's kind of the, like, Chuggy just doesn't do that well against lasers now, which is kind of the problem. I don't know, is it like, I mean, people were mad about Chuggy, I can see why they have to change Chuggy, but was the game better if Chuggy could kill lasers and missiles? I don't know.
Objective complete.
I don't know.
3, 2, 1. New mission received.
Zeddy.
Building online. Unit ready.
Let's go.
We have thus far won all of our games with Giga Cannon, but the Giga Cannon has not seemed that impactful so far. I've been winning a lot of games with just like Buggy Bite and Flamer, which is a pretty basic combo. Alright, maybe this is the game where the Giga Cannon will shine. We're definitely on the map for it.
Unit offline.
What's needed?
Unit ready.
The Brotherhood is rising. We're ready to kill them all.
Oh yeah, tank as well. Definitely Giga Cannon time.
Unit offline. Missile launched.
Takes a long time to kill rifles now with Giga, but that's probably fine. That's not really what it's supposed to do. Imagine MLRS versus rifles. That'll take forever to kill them. And then we get the Chuggy, I guess. And then we're Gucci. I've never seen a Chuggy just left charged up for this long. It's crazy. Alright, there we go.
Unit offline.
The Chuggy does seem a little underwhelming, to be honest.
Unit ready. As he desired. Laser squad.
The Tiberium is falling.
You kind of need like chuggy, double laser, Giga. This feels like the setup I want. But it's tough to kill everything with this. Like, I'm just getting shoved back by rifle plus Banshee? That's weak, man. That's like pretty pathetic thing to be losing to. Just struggling with like Banshees and rifles. That doesn't bode well for the deck, is all I have to say.
Laser squad.
Ready to wait.
Your command. We're in track. Laser squad. Here's lasers. Lasers. Your command.
Ready. Hear the green.
Lasers. Kill them all.
The weeds are wilting.
Laser squad. Ready for any lasers. Charge. Our lasers will.
I'm green.
Lasers as he desires. Your command.
Unit offline.
Lasers move for the front. Laser squad. Ready for anything.
Unit enhanced.
Taking ready.
Laser squad. Weapons charging.
Taking ray in the wind. There'll be no wind. Be guarded. Greedy meeting.
Lasers as he desires.
Unit offline.
Yeah, very well. The weeds.
Unit offline.
Yeah, this is not super impressive, to be honest with you.
Building online.
Phantom's not very good against Banshee either, which is a bit of an issue. And this is my plan.
Unit offline. Unit ready. Unit enhanced. Unit ready.
Yeah, this deck doesn't feel particularly strong, to be honest.
Enemy base destroyed. 3, 2, 1.
See you, Steve.
New objective.
Alright, we got the bad map this time.
Building online.
Advancing. Fighters, arm up.
And we're against Jade, which doesn't really mean that much anymore. You don't necessarily have to play chems with Jade at the moment, I don't think. Jade is like pretty reasonable. It's just as a kill button. Although it doesn't kill that many things, but it's okay now. Good against some decks.
Militia here. Your command. Laser squad. Ready for anything. Lasers move for the front.
Unit offline.
Kind of just struggling to beat wheels right now. Not looking good. Here come the chems. Alright, so he does still have the chems.
Laser squad. Take your
Chem Buggy is pretty bad against Chem Warrior, but what else am I gonna do? I haven't got a lot of options here.
Offline. Missile canceled. Nuclear weapon launched.
Would prefer it if I just had Buggy again. It's Chem Tank. It's like the best thing in the game against Chuggy. This is where I need my Giga Cannon against tanks, but this map is so bad for Giga Cannon. I'm really not feeling super good about it, because I have to. I don't have any other routes to tank.
lasers move. Laser squad. Power.
Enemy catalyst.
Okay.
Unit offline.
Just took out the map.
Laser squad.
Okay, I guess.
Laser squad. Ready for anything. Lasers charged.
Unit ready.
Your command. For the crystals. All the taking position. Lasers will hit them with precision.
Kill the unbelievers.
Lasers charged.
Unit ready. Unit offline.
Kill them. What's needed.
Let's go half pull OP.
Unit offline.
Half too strong. Kind of think that him nuking all of his own stuff was what won me that game. It
Accomplished.
was like pretty much all of the money he'd invested in that game gone in that missile.
3, 2, 1. New objective received.
Okay, well this deck actually really suffers from the economy change as well. Because it is pretty expensive, and like switching into the stuff, like the Giga Cannon and the Chuggy is quite pricey. Rifle Fanatic, that is an unusual combo.
Unit offline.
Very unusual combination.
militia here. Just kill me. We're ready to serve.
Building online. Unit ready.
Although if he's some form of tank deck, which seems reasonably likely with Fanatics, it could be, well, I guess not on this map. The Giga should be great, but the chuggy laser is unlikely to be particularly powerful against this. I guess his own chuggy, that's not good.
Unit offline. Unit ready.
That was weird how he sent the bike like all the way around. That was very weird. Instead of fighting my bike, that's what I expected him to do. Mutant. Okay. This can't possibly be good for my deck. This Giga Cannon is going to be terrible against Mutant. Do I even make a Giga Cannon? I guess not whilst he has a Mutant. Then he just goes Mutant Chuggy, and what do I do then? Lemon difficult.
Unit offline. 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 Unit ready. Unit offline.
I guess I'll make a Giga and see what happens. Alright, well. I don't think the Giga was responsible for that win, but we did win after we made a Giga.
Objective complete. 3, 2, 1. New objective available.
Alright, final game. We have won all 9 games, but I have to say, I've not been particularly impressed with the deck. Or decks. The buggy one felt better, but both of them just... I don't know, man, like the Giga... It's like I was saying at the start, the Giga is no longer overwhelmingly powerful, so you're basically just playing this unit that's fine. It doesn't really bring enough to the table anymore. It's not like... It actually feels like it's worse than MLRS now. Probably a large part is just the MLRS support cast. Like, being able to play MLRS with Sling is super strong. Because then that's like one avenue. It's very hard for Nod to do a similar thing. Like I had a couple of games with Banshee spam was a real problem. If you just make a Sling, that doesn't really happen, right? It's just not an issue. So I think that has been... I think that's a large part of the problem. Is that Giga... It's the same problem Giga... That's what I was saying at the start of the video, though. Giga is a very strong unit that just doesn't have the units to go around it to make it good. Giga Cannon itself is still pretty strong. It just doesn't have the help it needs to make it work. Not strong enough to carry on its own. Bren's also pretty big issue when you're a chuggy deck, since they got buffed and chuggy got nerfed. They're kind of tough to fight with chuggy now. Not impossible, but like the random EMP on it just doesn't really make it, like no one really knows why they have EMP. It's just randomly there, and it makes them cost more most of the time. It's like the justification for why they cost extra is because they have EMP.
EMP missiles ready.
This thing, I assume it puts down Cloud faster when boosted. So maybe you just need to use boost on Chuggy more often? Well, there you go, 10-0. The Giga just, I mean, the decks in the Giga didn't feel great. I just made like basic nod units like bikes and buggy and rifles and won most of my games doing that. But you can take what you want from it. You guys saw the same games I did. Maybe you watching it and thinking, wow, that Giga Cannon actually looked really strong. Personally, I thought the Giga Cannon didn't look great most of the time, but maybe you guys disagree. But you've seen it now, and that's it for me. Giga Cannon going back in the box. I didn't play Giga Cannon before, and I'm not going to play Giga Cannon now. I think it is... I don't really like 2-range. I think 2-range is kind of dumb. It's not like I'm not saying like, oh, I won't play 2-range because I'm morally superior to those who play 2-range or any of that nonsense. It's just I don't particularly enjoy the mechanics of 2-range, and I think 2-range is kind of stupid. So I don't really like playing 2-range units. I don't really like playing 2-range decks. Snipers are okay, I guess. I don't mind snipers, but that's about it. Everything else I think should kind of be like axed. Because 2-range units just lead to such toxic gameplay, especially Slingshot. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about Slingshot again, so I will just end the video. Alright, see ya.